All right, joining us now is a unique tag team from the Northeast. They're not only professional wrestlers, but they're real life brothers, the Battle Brothers, Anthony and Christopher. Guys, what's going on?
Hey, we're here. We're ready to rock and roll.
For everybody listening, tell us a little bit about the Battle Brothers. Tell us how you guys decided to be professional wrestlers one day. I mean, growing up being brothers, I mean, obviously we're fans of wrestling. Was there that one moment where you're like, all right, we're really doing this now? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We both Once we both graduated from high school, we are both commuting to school, and we've always been interested in wrestling. All teenagers backyard wrestle in high school and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I'm promoting that at all, but we always had this kind of want to do it. And one of our mutual high school friends, came to us and was like, "Hey guys, you guys are obsessed with wrestling. One of my dad's friends wants to open a wrestling school." So we're like, "Oh, cool. Who is this guy?" And he's like, "Oh, it's Paul Roma. He was in WCW, WWF." And so we kind of brought it to our parents, and our dad had a friend who happened to be Mario Mancini, and he's like, "Oh, I work with him professionally. Like, dad sells insurance. Mario's an attorney." So he's like, "Let me check with Mario." He comes back the next day, and he's like, "Yeah, turns out Roma and Mario are like best friends," and they're like, so he was able to vouch for him, and we got the okay from our parents, and we started training. It was pretty awesome.
Wow. Now you guys started exactly the same time, right? Or did one start before the other, or how did that work?
Yeah, we started together. It was the two of us, and our friend from high school was trained to be a referee.
Mm-hmm.
So the three of us started, and I think on the first day there was one other student who was there for one day, then he quit.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know too many brothers that are wrestling together that started together. It's very unique. You've been a part of many promotions over here, specifically Northeast Wrestling. I've been to the Bethany shows. Can you guys tell us you've been there the longest throughout a lot of other promotions? But tell me, Bethany's so unique. There's such a hot crowd. I've never been to a place where everybody's on the same page, if you will, about professional wrestling, and it's lightning when you go there. You know what I mean? Has it always been like this?
Yeah, it's such a perfect size for this, like, the scale of the crowd or the show we're looking for. Like, I work for the Park and Rec there, so we were able to start running shows there for CTWE back in the day, and it just started catching on because it's such a great experience for the fans to come, and you're literally 10 feet away from the ring, and it's the intimacy of the building makes it so much more awesome. It also helps that it sounds great because it's a small enough place, but it's just the right size for the shows we need. And we as we started working through CTWE, we're coming up with better set designs and stuff. We built the walls you see there. Chris and I built those with the help from Mikey Chase. It was his original incepted idea. We built a ramp. We're constantly trying to improve things and make the experience even more enjoyable for the fans. And we pack that place, man. Sometimes it's standing room only, and it's just such an awesome. I don't know. Just the being in there makes it just awesome. Yeah, it's also it's crazy thinking that we're having made Bethany like a famous wrestling town because no one has heard of Bethany besides wrestling fans.
Yeah.
And like some of the names we've had in Bethany, like seeing like Billy Gunn and Brian Kendrick, or the last little while ago we had Cody Rhodes and Liger. Like Juice and Thunder Liger wrestled in Bethany. It was insane.
That's great, guys. It's definitely awesome that you guys have been able to see, this happen. You guys made it a part of your town. Did you guys, when you came up with your name, the Battle Brothers, was it just, did you guys have other names before the Battle Brothers? Or, I don't know, I'm always curious about people's naming. Or was it just like, hey, we're the Battle Brothers? I don't know. Was there a unique story about that?
Yeah, well, we started off, our original tag team name was the Archangels. And we kind of wanted to have it like a Boondock Saints kind of gimmick, like a weirdly religious thing. Mostly because we had a cool logo with the wings, so we wanted to go with that. But eventually we just changed it. We're like, you know what, Battle Brothers is so much easier to remember,
that's what everyone calls us, so we just switched it up.
Definitely. Now, guys, the first time I was out there a few years ago, this was my first Bethany show, and I can remember this. The crowd's hot, the guys on the side were making all the better signs that I've seen at like WWE shows. These signs are awesome for everybody. And I noticed the Lion King one, and it was referenced to you, Chris. And I need to know the story because figure me, I'm coming there. I have no idea what's going on, and I see these guys with the Simba signs and all that stuff. What's the story behind that? Because I missed that. I missed what was happening, but it was these guys, man. They're awesome fans. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How that happened?
Yeah, I mean, after I used to just be the Archangel Chris Battle, but in CTWE I kind of decided to change it up. So I grew my hair out, changed my name, became the Red Lion Chris Battle. And when you're named after a lion, people are going to make Lion King jokes. So
Sure,
it kind of caught on, and it got kind of out of control, all the Simba stuff, but it was entertaining for sure.
Yeah, they gotta love the crowd for that. Anthony, man, now tell me, you do a top rope moonsault or what is this? Because
Yeah.
yeah, man, I can't even do this. I can't do this, but it's incredible. A man your size, man, I don't see anybody doing this. It's amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about the day you decided, hey man, this is part of my arsenal right now?
Well, we grew up with a pool in our backyard, so I would always. I wasn't this size my whole life, but like we had a diving board. We'd do all the top rope moves from wrestlers, doing swantons, double drops, moonsaults. So I always got really comfortable with that. And I think part of it was wrestling in high school. I really got a good handle on controlling my body. And when we started training wrestling, I was like 200 pounds. So it literally, when I wrestle, I still feel like I can still do these things. And it kind of got it, like when it comes to doing the moonsault, you kind of just got to do it. A lot of guys have trouble even doing a forward roll because they're not comfortable with going the body over their head. But I've always been comfortable doing it. And the fact that it gets such a reaction like it does, I got to keep doing it because it is pretty awesome.
No, definitely cool. Now, guys, as brothers, you've guys been a part of many promotions, like I said before, but recently, too, you were also Northeast Wrestling Tag Team Champions. I know you're also Tag Team Champions of other places, too, but tell me, as brothers, winning Tag Team titles, I mean, this is better than being a kid to where, as a team, maybe when you guys were kids wrestling around, you won, the imaginary titles. Now, this one, as brothers, you're winning actual promotion titles. And I mean, what was the feeling like when the first time you guys won championship gold? Because I don't know, it's just the whole story about being brothers, which is awesome. Not too many people can say they won tag team championships with their brother.
Yeah, I mean, like I've won singles titles in different companies, and Anthony's been tag champs with other people in different companies. But the first time that we won tag team titles together, like it was a special moment. It was in Danbury at Northeast Wrestling. We beat Ron Zombie and Bull Dread for those belts, and it was like I kind of marked out for myself a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
man.
It was a moment.
So you guys have been there, like I said, in Bethany with CTW, with Northeast Wrestling. Did you guys worry when the other promotion left, or did you think like, man, is it gonna be hard to get somebody else here? Or I don't know. Was there kind of like a little?
Initially, it was kind of like, oh, what's going to happen? But as CTW is on its way out, a lot of guys that work with Northeast, like Lou and Vito, the guys behind the scenes that do a lot of the important work. Guys like Brian and Anthony, we've been friends with them for years, and we kind of just gravitated together. And as CTW was leaving, after that show, we were kind of like, all right, we were approached by a couple different companies wanting to run shows there. Even a wrestling school was trying to run there. But we realized that the responsible choice and probably the best choice for not only us like career-wise, but for the sake of wrestling in Bethany, like we want to keep that going and work and arranging with Northeast was like the best thing we could have ever done. And it was a seamless transition. We started running shows there, and it's been hot ever since. I mean, it's literally like it's almost too good to be true. Like we're in such a great position now with everything. We've got all this stuff down, how we set up, we break down. It's just like and it also helps that it's a family affair. Like all of us, everybody, the core people that help set up and everything. Like we all want to put on a great show for this building and for our wrestling family, and it's just like a completely different thing. Even the locker room is a completely different locker room than, I mean, it's a lot of the same guys, but being in that locker room, it's just like a whole different thing. It's just like that building draws like wrestling greatness, and it's awesome.
No, for sure. I love visiting there, and you definitely put them on the map. Now, has there ever been a time to where maybe you guys were wrestling, somebody got injured, or any story like that, even just singles wrestling?
I think it was in August, the end of August last summer. We were wrestling the Now at the baseball stadium show in New York, and Hale Collins dove off the top onto all of us on the outside, and I caught him literally on the top of my head. Ooh. And it like crunched my neck like a freaking slinky. Oh. And I just felt it just go crunch. It was so loud. I hit the ground. I was like, oh my God, can I move? I'm like, hopefully I can move. Luckily, I somehow was able to walk away from it, and like we were able to finish the match, and like it was a scare. That's probably the biggest that kind of situation I could think of. Other than like breaking my thumb in a match against Dan the Man like 8 years ago, but that was about it.
Oh man! Now, has there ever been competition between you two, maybe secretly backstage, of who's gonna outshine the other brother that evening? I don't know. Is there any friendly, brotherly, I should say, rivalries between you two for anything?
Yes. No. I think as brothers, you kind of look out for each other more than regular tag team might. Mm-hmm. Like we're always like, oh, I'm always thinking, oh, Anthony, you should do this move here. You should go for this. Like I know it. Like I'll stick up for him and he'll stick up for me with different parts of the matches. So it works out pretty well.
Sure. Now, have you ever had a team throughout your career, or not even team, even solos, this would be everybody, any kind of match you guys ever had that tested your limits, if you will, as man, either A, I love pro wrestling, or B, I don't want to do it again? Has there ever been a really, really good time or a really, really bad time that, I don't know, maybe you question what you wanted to do? Or
for myself, one of my greatest rivals has been Brian Anthony since we started training, because we pretty much trained together with Roma. Mm-hmm. So we've had a lot of great matches. We had a ladder match, cage match. And as for a tag team, I got to say our ladder match with the Canadian Superstars a few years ago at Town Hall was one of our best matches and most physically demanding matches, as ladder matches usually are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and after that match, I was laying on the mat realizing that fiberglass ladders was a terrible purchase from Home Depot because literally fibers of glass are all over the place and embedded in our skin. So that was a very poor choice. So that was that's about the extent of that.
You live, you learn, right, guys? Well, hey,
do that again.
Speaking of Paul Roma, real quick too, was there maybe any piece of advice that maybe stuck with you throughout the training with him too? Maybe just something that stands out every day when you wrestle that you're always like, hey, I don't know, is there any one thing like that you guys were ever told, or even if it's not from Paul Roma, maybe somebody else?
Well, maybe for me, every time I'm thinking about what I'm going to do in a match, like, make it make sense and not waste movements on stuff. Like, you don't have to, like, you could do cool stuff like flips and stuff, which, I mean, when I finally do my moonsault, it's worth more when I can make stuff, like, why we're doing it, make stuff make sense. Like, do things for a reason,
sure,
and not do things for doing things.
Yeah, I feel like our training, I couldn't have asked for a better trainer. Like a lot of people talk about the training and not learning psychology or how to put the match together or anything like that. But we learned from a former WWE wrestler how they do their matches and all the psychology. Like, mm-hmm. So pretty much just putting a match together and keep making things make sense with a heel and a baby face, and just doing the job right.
For anybody listening out there too who's never been to a Bethany show, there's a show coming up on the 18th, Kingdom and Chaos in Bethany, Connecticut. I don't know. Can you basically just for somebody who's never been out to the Bethany crowd, if you guys could just sum it up maybe each, why should they be out? Why should they come to the show if they've never been to a Northeast Wrestling show in Bethany, Connecticut?
I've got to say, it's just how intimate it is. The fact, like, you might watch wrestling on TV, and that's one thing, but when you're 10 feet away from the wrestlers and you yell something and the wrestler turns around and talks back to you, it's like the most interactive form of entertainment there is.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's literally like you'll never want to miss a show there. Something always happens that's exciting or new or awesome, a surprise maybe. It's such a great experience. Like, you can go spend $15 to go to the movies, but you're just sitting there and watching. You can't react to it, and if you cheer, people might look at you funny and want you to be quiet. But if you go to a show in Bethany, you go there and you'll make friends with all the guys, all the fans that go there all the time. They welcome new people. The wrestlers welcome new people. The staff, the crew, everybody wants to bring in new people all the time, and they welcome into the family. It's like, hey, you're new here. You're in for a wild ride, and I can't wait for you to come next time too, because you're going to love it, and you're never going to want to go anywhere else. Well, you will, but you'll never want to miss a show in Bethany. It's like it's just such an awesome place to see a show.
Awesome, guys. Well, hey, we barely scraped the surface with you tonight. We're going to be talking to you guys more, but for everybody out there listening, is there any place where they can follow the Battle Brothers anywhere on social media or anything like that?
I believe I'm at Anthony Battle on the Twitter and probably the Instagram or the Battle Tank. Oh man, I probably should get these things in line.
Yeah, and I'm Chris Battle on Twitter, but I never use it. But follow me on Instagram. I have a Facebook page for the Red Line, Chris Battle, for updates.
Yeah, I'm the Battle Tank on Twitter. I also have an amazing array of food that I cook, so that's also fun to watch.
Awesome, guys. Well, I appreciate your time tonight, and we'll look forward to see you in Bethany on the 18th.